All right, it's the week that was inside of room 442. Albert Vartanian, Mikey Singh, Sarah Pararia. Manchester City heavily involved in the news this week, especially with what's going on with the Premier League, charging them over 100 rule breaches and some serious punishments can be dished out to Manchester City. Relegation, points deductions, who knows what's going to happen. But Pep Guardiola today had a press conference and he had this to say, very, very interesting. I'm fully convinced that we will be innocent. And then what will happen next? Will we stop now? Since Abu Dhabi took over the club, it's been like that between 19 Premier League teams, or the words of my people. I rely on the words of my people. Let my people go. Pep is making this a us versus them type of thing. That's the mentality that he has right now. Watching him in that press conference, Sarah, you can tell this is weighing on him.
For sure. I mean, it's not like City are in a great place right now just with the way they're playing. And now all of this drama coming on top of it. Him as the manager, he's dealing with all these issues. And then another, boulder just drops basically on him. I can't blame him for that. And we don't really know how much he knows. Of course, he said he doesn't know. There was, of course, speculation, but he definitely doesn't know the entire story. We can guarantee that. I don't think any manager knows exactly what's happening behind those books, but it must be frustrating for him that, there's this team that was at the top of the league and now they're kind of struggling, and now there's the story that breaks. I don't know. I'm not surprised.
And I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he did say, I'm going to be here now more than ever. Almost taking his stand, I'm with this team, I'm with my people. He even mentioned, if we go down to League One or even the conference, that's no issue. We've been there before. We were at Main Road. We can come back up. For Pep, how do you see this playing out for him?
Well, it sounds like his stance has sort of changed from where it was just a few months ago, when obviously that clip that was going viral about Pep Guardiola saying is, hey, if you lied to me, him talking to his ownership, if you lied to me and we've done anything wrong here, then I'm gone, right? But it sounds like he's going to stick with the club now through the thick and the thin, which is an interesting turn of events. And, I'll go back to kind of what you were saying, and I'll throw it to Albert. Do you think that Pep is completely oblivious to what has gone on here?
No, I think we'd be naive to think that. But at the same time, there's different levels to these clubs for a reason, right? You have the guys at the top who deal with the finances, the transfers, and whatever else that goes on. Then you have the manager who deals with the players and obviously comes in contact with them, especially when it comes to recruitment. You have to have an idea that there's something going on. Whether it's legal or illegal, that's up to whoever to determine.
Think the biggest thing, though, with this story that bothers me is that if they're going to go after Manchester United, they might as well go after everyone else.
Manchester City.
Yeah. Sorry, Manchester City. They might as well go after Chelsea. Already Juve, we've seen what happened. Barcelona's been having issues. Go after Real Madrid, PSG. There are so many teams that I'm like, we know what's going on as fans. This has been going on for so long. Go after everyone or don't go after anyone. But, they need to start. I guess they need to start somewhere, and that's what's happening. But I would, if I were Chelsea or PSG, I'd be scared.
Well, Pep kind of alluded to that, right? He goes, listen, all these teams that are calling us out, they better be careful, right? Because there's a lot of teams with a lot of money, investing a lot of money, and if these whoever it is, lawyers, decide to go through their books, then they might find something similar to what they're finding with Manchester City, even though Manchester City's still innocent until proven guilty. Like Pep said, he's like, we live in a country where we're innocent until proven guilty.
I guess as a Spurs fan, Albert, you're probably feeling pretty calm through all this. You're probably not worried whatsoever about the Spurs books. Hey, you're good.
He did mention Levy's name quite a bit throughout this press conference, and Spurs were apparently one of 9 teams who wanted Manchester City out of the Champions League. So, City, Pep, and they're going to be gunning for other Premier League teams. This is a massive story that I think is going to go on and on and on. But another story that is going on is in the other side of Manchester. Qatari investment, Mikey, looking to buy out the team.
I don't know where you want me to go with that. Yeah, it's the reality of football.
Okay, let's take it from a fan's perspective.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Mixed, right?
Why?
Because one hand, you obviously have the human rights issues that it's very prevalent in Qatar, and we know sort of the whole situation there, especially with the World Cup. A lot of light has been shed on some of the issues that do happen there. But then from a soccer standpoint, you're like, that's potentially exciting in terms of the amount of money that can be invested into your club and recruitment. And all of a sudden, hey, we're talking about Manchester United getting and competing with clubs for Kylian Mbappe, for example.
Yeah.
Like it's mixed, right? So
It's a bit of a strange time to be a football fan, right? Because you have mixed emotions about certain owners taking over the club that you support, whether it's Qatari, Saudi, American, billionaires, whatever the case may be. I think you just, as a supporter, as a fan, you want your club run the right way. But on the other side, you want your club to be really successful. And in the Premier League, you need money to be successful. That's been shown. I mean, the only one team who's done it the other way in recent past is Leicester City. But that's what, 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Even that. So it's strange right now. You kind of want it to happen, but at the same time, you're like, no, we want to stick to our roots and be a proper football
Guys,
club, whatever that means.
A Barcelona fan, you do not want it to happen. You don't want any part of this. Honestly, Mikey's right. I think it is inevitable. I think we're going to start seeing more and more of these, Saudi or Qatari businessmen kind of buying into these clubs, and
That's
I
where the
think
money is, right?
it is where the money is, but we've also seen how corrupt it is. Put aside the human rights aspect, which is a huge aspect. It's so corrupt. We've seen what happened at Barcelona, at PSG. We've seen, Todd Boehly as well coming into Chelsea. And just like these really, huge businessmen that are coming from wherever. It's corrupting the game more so than the game already was. And I think it is inevitable, but I think we should try and stay away from it as much as we can.
My concern with a lot of these owners that have all this money is how much they actually care about the football.
They don't.
I mean, you guys been giving me a lot of stick about Wrexham and Ryan Reynolds, but clearly from what he's showing and what he's putting into the club, he's a guy who actually cares about the club. And I think that's what supporters want. That's what I want as a supporter. I want the owners of the club that I support to care about the football more than they care about the money, but that will never be the case.
But I disagree. I don't think people who are going to be buying clubs like Manchester United and potentially Liverpool, they care about the business side of things as much. It's almost like these guys are multi-billionaires that have too much money to spend, and they're just trying to play real-life football manager. Because if you're investing that much money into a club, an asset like Manchester United, you're going to have to invest more to revamp the stadium and all the infrastructure and bring in players. You're not looking at a profit. You're not making money.
Maybe not in the short term, right? But you have to spend money to make money. You have to bring in these global superstars to up the revenue, right?
What about PSG?
They're not doing this to break even. They're doing this to make money.
Sorry, but what about PSG? They're a team that, they got bought out and they're so corrupt and they can't win a Champions League. They clearly don't care about the football there. Otherwise, PSG would be storming through everyone.
They clearly don't care about the money either, because they've given everything to an Mbappe, giving everything to a Neymar, giving everything to a Messi.
But think about how much money
you're turning a
think
profit.
about how much. What do you mean? How much money they're making off those guys?
Also, the
think
pockets
they're making
run deep. It's
Yeah,
endless,
the
right?
thing is
That
what-
type of money is endless.
It is.
When Messi signed there, like his jersey sold out in like a day or something ridiculous. So
Did you buy one?
it's not. No,
Would you ever buy a Messi PSG kit?
I don't know.
I think I would. I want the
You
number
would,
30.
come on.
I think I would.
Yeah. If this is going to be his last club, I probably would for the sake of it being the
Get ready
last.
for Inter Miami.
But I think he's coming home.
With
Yes,
Inter Miami.
and-
He's
well,
never
guys-
let
Wait,
this go.
actually, speaking of that, since this was the week that was, we didn't talk about this, but during the week, Inter Miami, apparently, according to Tom Bogert, still feel confident that they're going to sign Lionel Messi. There's no contract
PSG,
signed.
it's weird. PSG also feel
Right?
confident they're going to sign Messi.
There's
I
no
also
contract
heard
that's signed,
Barcelona are in talks with Messi, and
Oh, here we go.
Let's talk about something that's very important, close to my heart, close to everybody's heart.
Especially close to
One of
your
the greatest players in world football this past week. Scored 4 goals in a game. Cristiano Ronaldo. Look at your face.
I was like, who's he talking?
Talking about Messi. No,
I
he
knew it
scored
right
4
away.
goals in one game. His tally for club goals, 503, Sarah. Do you
Does
care
it
about these
count?
goals? Do
Nope.
you care about these games?
Nope.
Do you care about Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah, for sure, but not in this situation.
Why?
Because it's the Saudi league, it doesn't hold any credit. In my eyes, that's just me personally. I think it's a great milestone for him. If you're still tallying these goals, it's fantastic. We all know what he can do, but let's not forget the first 4 games that he played with Al Nassr. They lost half of them and he didn't score anything. So I don't
It's a
really.
transitional period, right? You gotta get used to your surroundings,
Well,
Mikey.
I mean-
No? Do you care?
Did you catch the goals?
Just highlights quickly.
how'd it
You're
look?
not even watching
They
them.
looked all right. I mean, the keeper probably could have stopped.
Yeah, it's a-
Hey, but 4 goals is 4 goals. Come on, got to give the guy some credit.
I don't.
No?
How much credit?
You're a United fan. You should be
How
jumping
much
up and down for this.
Man, you saw what Cristiano Ronaldo did on his way out of Manchester United. I think he's left a lot of
What he's
fans.
done for that club should outweigh
It-
1 or 2
over
seasons.
time.
Come on.
Over
I
time.
think over time, but it's still fresh. Like
Yeah.
that's still like the memory people
You
have
guys are
of him
haters.
right now.
Let's talk about Toronto FC. I want to make Mikey happy. They made some signings.
They
At least
did.
one.
They
Sigurd Rosted, Champions League level defender.
Yeah.
I mean, that's maybe a bit of a stretch. He played a little bit in the Champions League,
Mm-hmm.
but this is really going to help that back line become as strong as Bob Bradley wants them to be.
Yeah, it's a really nice addition for the squad. Like I said earlier this week when we talked about it, it rounds out sort of what their starting 11 will be. But they've invested into the squad and just as a whole, it's really top heavy, right? If they get an injury or two, that's where the concern is.
Right.
But that being said, if you look at this starting 11 versus any other starting 11 in the league right now, you like their chances. So at that part, it's exciting. Sigurd Rosted in particular, like you said, Champions League experience, a lot of European experience, been there, done that. It's going to be a nice addition to that back line. It's a massive upgrade from where they were last season.
Is it Roasted or Roosted? I've heard both.
You're asking the wrong
Okay,
guy.
we'll find out at some
Yeah,
point
you're
what it
asking the
actually is.
wrong guy.
Quickly on Jaden Nelson. So he goes to Rosenborg.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm seeing on social media is the Rosenborg fans are really happy and excited to see him play.
Yeah, so the way that he plays, I mean, you're drawing fans in. I remember so many times going to TFC games, and this was before the Insignes and Bernardeschi's arrived. He was the guy that fans, especially casual fans, were like, oh, who's that? Like, what's he doing out there? And he was the guy that, I'd say, aside from an Insigne and Bernardeschi, no one gets their fans on the edge of their seat more than Jaden Nelson because he's that type of player. He's so exciting to watch. He's flashy. He's speedy. He's got that flair aspect to him. He can do exciting things. The end product is still to come, but all of that in between is what's really exciting. And
Yeah.
Rosenborg fans are going to love this kid.
Yeah, good luck to him. Let's move on. Liverpool and LeBron James, the NBA's all-time scoring leader, shares already shaking your head. They've collaborated to come out with a kit. I don't know if we have an image of this, but you can see it on here. A black with the red stripes. It's kind of like, there you go, right there. Remember the Chicago Bulls Jordan jerseys?
Yeah.
The black.
Yeah,
It's
they brought
similar
it
to that.
back.
I don't know. I think this one needs to grow on me first. I don't like it right now.
That's maybe one of the ugliest jerseys I've ever seen. Sorry.
Is it the kit that's ugly, or is it the logo?
Yeah,
the crown?
LeBron's logo is not great on this for sure.
It
But
doesn't
I think
look like much effort's been put
yeah, I
into
think
it.
that's the thing. It looks like it was kind of just mashed together. I mean, what a
I don't mind
That's-
that. That's
that's fine.
simple.
that's
That's
fine,
fine.
but
Yeah.
that's also just a regular long sleeve with a Liverpool and a LeBron. Like
Crew-neck, yeah.
to mess that up would be a stretch. But I think it's just LeBron, top scorer in the NBA. All credit to him. This man has been working so hard for so long. But it's not your job to get involved with designing these jerseys.
So let me read you a little bit about this kit. It has letters Y, N, W, A, and SFG running throughout the kit. The first batch of initials represents Liverpool's famous club anthem, You'll Never Walk Alone. And the second represents James' own personal mantra. You guys guess it?
What is it?
Strive for greatness.
Oh,
Right
I
for greatness,
was
yeah.
gonna say read out the. I was gonna try and guess.
STG. STG.
Is it
So you won't be
Strive for
buying one of these kits.
No
We
chance.
should get one for Sharms.
We should get one for Sharms.
We should
Yeah,
get one
actually,
for
Gertie really
Sharms.
likes them, right?
I
So
know.
Yeah.
Poor guy's going through it, man. Liverpool's struggling.
Yeah.
Thiago's probably not going to play against
Hey, this'll
Everton.
make him feel
Sean
better, right?
Dyche is going to go over the Anfield and potentially pick up a win for the first time since the 90s.
Couldn't go a whole segment without a Sean.
You know who
Dyche
Everton
mention.
need, honestly?
Spartanian.
They need a proper striker. I think once Wout
Who?
Weghorst's contract comes to an end at Manchester United,
oh,
Sean Dyche,
Dyche
there is your new
screams
signing. You
Weghorst.
signed him once at Burnley, bring him to Everton. That's been the week that was inside of Room 442.